protocol of this oven is as follows. First, wash all the trays, including the interior, with soapy water. Add 1/3 plus cup hot water to the black tray. Place in the middle rack. Set air fryer thermostat to 400. Set the timer for 5 minutes or so. This will steam the inside, opening the door occasionally and close to let the steam out within the 5 minutes. To air fry frozen fish or chips, mid-rack, temperature 325 for 11 minutes. Adjust the fryer for other items with temperature and timer. The oven has 2 thermostats, one for the fryer, one for the oven. For baking, I use the convection with the fan, but cut down the temperature and time by roughly 1/4 or less, as the oven is small and generates more heat. For air frying, say English muffin with ham and cheese, set at 400 top rack for 5 minutes plus. Check often. For baking chicken breast that's been cut up, use oven setting at 275 for 30 minutes. Check for doneness. Mid-rack or bottom with convection. Meat will take longer at a higher temperature, and to sear steaks in the top rack, just minutes on both sides. Check often. With receipts from books, cut the temperature and time down. The oven does get brown stains after months of use. Clean with a well-used SOS pad with most of the soap taken out of it. Clean all parts except the fan housing, which is placed on the top, which is better than on the side for better convection. Clean all trays after use. The air fryer basket will brown with the heat generated after much use. Other settings with the oven thermostats are available there. There is a learning curve to this oven. As I've recorded and baked in this oven and used it for quite a few months, I would give this oven a 9.5 out of 10. Sláinte, and thank you very much. I'm going to review this MasterChef air fryer convection oven. I think the company has redesigned this oven. It looks quite smart. It's powder coated black paint. Inside is metal casing, but I wish they had used stainless steel in the inside, because it does stain after a month or two's use. But it can be easily cleaned with SOS soapy pads. What I like about this
with
oven,
a well-used
it has
pad.
2 thermostats. One for the air fryer and one for the oven. It can be adjusted on the air fryer temperature, which is ideal for different items. The oven has many settings. On the bottom here is the air fryer and heat in the oven from the bottom. Just air in this one. Baking, top and bottom element. This convection with fan and the element hot from the top. On this one, it just has the element on the top. The aluminium knobs are quite solid, but I added a little black spot here with a pen to show where the positions are, which is easier than just the slot marked on the side, and makes setting the dials much easier. comes with a black tray for the bottom, a shelf, and a basket, which I have just used to cool my baking. The fan only distributes the remaining heat in the oven when the baking is done, and it also cools down the oven. Some parts of the oven can get quite hot. The point of interest on this Z-style oven is that the heating element is up top with the fan. Makes better distribution of the hot air. On the sides of the door, on the top, along the edge, it has a rubber bumper with a little space down at the bottom which lets the moisture out when you are cooking. I like using these silicone baking utensils in this oven. They don't stick, they're easier cleaned, and you can make poached eggs on the air fryer setting in about 4 to 5 minutes. If they get a little bit too hot, you can place the tray in the middle rack and continue from there. You can also make muffins. Muffins can be baked in the center position with these silicone shapes. I use these utensils for baking in, also non-stick. And when you're baking, you cut the temperature down from the recipes by at least a quarter and the time allotted to do your baking, because this oven keeps the heat and it's quite intense, so you have to watch the temperature and the time you take to do your baking. And if you don't want to get your hand burned, I use these silicone hand holds. When using the oven, it's better to pull it slightly off the wall, because there's quite lots of heat there, and the back of the wall will get quite hot. I've used either of these baking trays for chicken dishes and meat dishes, filet mignon, on a vegetable base. They come out perfect, but again you have to control the heat and the time factor by at least a quarter and keep checking, because there's a learning curve with this little oven. It's beneficial to wash and wipe all interior part after each use. In a couple of months the inside will stain somewhat, and it's quite easy to be cleaned with SOS pads. For recipes for an air fryer, convection oven, toaster, I suggest you download MEALTHY for all the recipes for this oven. With cooking and baking in this small kitchen, I mainly use the convection oven and or the Tefal pressure cooker, along with a Vitamix. I've had this Vitamix for over 20 years.